Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to see how we can insert data into our database. So previously we've created three tables: table employee, table department, and table works for. Now in this video, we're going to learn how we can insert all these values into our tables. So currently our tables are empty. It's only the structure there. That means the metadata is there. We know the column names, and we know how many columns, and we know the name of the table, but we haven't added any data yet. We haven't inserted any data yet. So in this video, we're going to learn how we can insert all these rows into our database. Okay, so let's just get started by taking a look at the syntax for inserts. So to insert a row into a table, you need the following code. So it's insert into, and then table name. So the table name that you're going to be inserting into. In parentheses, you're going to put the columns of this table. Our table is composed of three columns: EID, ename, and email. So here goes columns. So it's column 1, comma, column 2, comma, and so on. All the columns go there. And then we're going to put the values. So you type values and then parentheses. You're going to put the values for each column. So I'm going to align them this way just so you know that column 1 has, let's say, value 1, and then comma, column 2 has value 2. And then you put your semicolon. So this is one line of code. It ends with a semicolon. So therefore, this whole line is just one insert statement that's going to execute all at once. But because it's better to align it right, so you will be able to understand this code better, and you will align, let's say, the column names with the values. It's just for visibility purposes, but you know, it's up to you. So let's get started with our table. It has EID as the first column, and the second column is ename, E for employee, so it's ename, and the last column is email. The values that will go here is what we have in the table. So one Bob and Bob at yahoo.com. So it's one Bob and Bob at yahoo.com. So for EID we have 1, comma. For ename we have Bob. Now numbers don't need quotes, but if you have a varchar type, because ename was varchar, that means it's text, it has to be enclosed in single quotation marks. So that is Bob. And email is also varchar, so it has to be in quotation marks. So it has to be in single quotation. And we're inserting into table employee. So if we run this one line of code, it will result in one row inserted. So one row was inserted into our database. Okay, so to insert the next line of code, or to insert the next row of data, the next instance into our database, we need a whole insert statement. So you don't just put the values here, but you also must include the first part here where the table name is and also the column name. So you must repeat all of that. And the second line is to bill at Hotmail. Okay, so we want to insert this. So it's to as in ID, and name is Bill, and the email is bill@hotmail.com. Now you want to select this line and then hit run, and that's going to say one row inserted. And then we insert the third one. The third one is going to be Jane. Okay, so it's Jane at AOL.com. So it's going to be ID 3. Name is going to be Jane. Again, we are inserting into table employee. and these are the columns that we are inserting into. In that same order, we are placing our values. This is for the ID, this is for the name, and this is for the email. I select this query and I just run it, and that will result in inserting one third row. So we have 2 more rows to insert. That is for John and Mary. Okay, so, and then we insert the 4th instance or 4th row, and that is for John. We hit run, and that's 1 row inserted. The last row is going to be for Mary, so we insert that too. So that's going to be Mary, and that is ID 5. Okay, so I hit run and 1 row inserted. Now, notice that if you attempt to insert, let's say, another person, let's say Smith, and if you attempt to use the same ID as another already inserted value, it will give you an error message. And the error message say unique constraint is violated. And that is because we said that employee ID is a primary key. Therefore, all the IDs must be different. They must be unique. Each one of these instances or rows must have a distinguished value, must have a unique value. So that's why this is a unique constraint that was supposed to be, that was violated with this attempt. So if you want to insert Smith, you must include a different ID. Notice that this won't hurt if you have the same email as Mary, just because we did not put a constraint on email to say that that must be unique. Okay. Now, you notice that we had to insert these rows separately, 1 row at a time, but you can actually insert all the rows all at once. So we're going to do that for the next table, and that is for department. So I'm going to show you how you can insert all the rows all at once. To do so, so you're going to need an insert statement. So you're going to create what we call a block. So you're going to say begin. The block starts with the keyword begin and ends with the keyword end, or the command end. So we're going to say, and then we're going to put all of our inserts within this block, and then just run the whole block all at once. Okay, because we can't run 2 inserts at the same time. But if we include them in just 1 block, then we can run all the inserts all at once. Okay, so we're inserting into department. So we're inserting into department table. And by the way, you can have an insert statement without having the column names, but you have to be careful when putting the values that they must be in the same order the structure of your table is. So I'm going to show you what that means. So I can, put my query without the columns listed there. So I can just simply say insert into department values, and I'm going to put my values in the same order they should be. So the first value should be for the department's ID, and the second value should be for the department's name. So it's going to be math, computer, physics. Okay, so insert into department values. So the first row is going to have an ID of 1, and then the department's name is math. The second is going to be, need to run these lines of code separately. I can simply just highlight the whole block and click run, and that's going to tell me that the statement is processed. That means this whole statement was processed. That means I've inserted 5 rows into my table. Now, I haven't shown you how to find out if you actually have inserted values into your tables, and this is how you check. So I'm going to show you a query that's going to help you find out what you have in your tables. So we are assuming that we've inserted all rows into employees table. So by running this select statement, it's select star from, let's say, the table name, which is employee. This query is going to retrieve everything you have in employee table, all the rows, all the data in employees table. So if I run it, I get this table here. So you notice that So we have this table. So when I ran that select statement, it gave me all these rows. So this is the table: employee's ID, employee name, and here's 52413, Mary, Bill, John, Bob, Jane. They're out of order, but you know, when we get to more on select statements, you can actually order these in any way you like when viewing them. Okay, so that is how you check if you have everything in your tables. Let's check if we have everything in department table. So if I run, I will get, so I have the department's ID, I have the department's name, and the 5 rows are in there. Okay. Now we want to insert all the values, and we want to insert all the values to the third table, and the third table is works for. So insert into works for. Values, the values are going to be, let's see what we have. So we're going to insert 1, 2, 3, 5, and 4. I'm going to explain to you what that means in a second. So 1, 2, 3. So it's the first ID is 1. That means that's the first employee's works for instance that we are going to be inserting. And then the department that they work for is going to be 22. And how much they get paid, 20,000. Okay, and they get paid 20,000. Okay, so you have, so inserting the rest of the rows. So we have 5 rows here. So that means employee with ID 1 that works for department 22 gets paid $20,000. And that is an instance that's going to be inserted into the works for table. Then we have another instance and another instance. Think of these as contracts. So each one of these is a contract, and each employee has a contract. Some employees may work for multiple departments, and a department may have, let's say, multiple employees working for them. Okay, so let's run this, and it should say statement processed. That's what it is. Statement processed, that means we successfully inserted all the rows into works for. Let's find out if that is true. So we're going to run our select statement. So it's select everything. That's what star means, from works for table. So from works for, and if I run this, I will be getting all the rows of works for. So that's 5 rows, and there you have it. So you have the EID, DID, salary, and all the rows are in there. Okay, so this is just a practice of insert statements. So just to recap. So the format for an insert statement is insert into table, table name. So you're going to put the table name there. And then you put your columns. So column 1, comma, column 2, and so on, and the rest of the columns there. And then values. So you're going to type the values for each column. So the first column is going to have, let's say, value 1, comma, value 2, and so on. So this is the syntax for creating, for inserting values into a table, and this is how you check or how you retrieve all the values from a table. So it's select star from table name. So you put the table name here, and then this star means everything. So this is going to retrieve all from table name. Okay, so this is just a practice for insert statement, and till the next one.